Hi guys, a few people asked me what my retro gaming setup is at home. So as the wife's away this weekend, I thought I'd just record just so people can see what I've currently got set up. Okay, so basically in terms of actual consoles, I don't have that much out on display. I've got loads boxed away, but I tend to choose just those systems which don't emulate particularly well, but I like to play quite regularly. But I've got loads boxed away in various places, like over there, and in the cupboard in the other room. And same with games, most boxed away, but I do have top shelf double deep worth of Xbox 360 games, and then I have all the Dreamcast games hidden away there, some Mega CD, GameCube. I'm a big fan of GameCube. A whole shelf dedicated double deep of Saturn games. I can't get enough of my Saturn, and quite a few PlayStation 1 and 2 games, and look in there, some GameCube games as well. So I try and keep most things. I try not to extend it any further than that, really, because it just becomes too much. But down there, in there, that box here, I've got all my CD32, loads of 3DO games, and in here I've got my trusty old Mega Drive, and you can see there's a good old Master System which I've got boxed away. Some games for that, and then there's some consoles. Now, in terms of the actual sort of the reason I have most boxed away is because I've decided to emulate wherever possible. I like owning the systems, but it's always good to have emulation just for lack of space, etc. So what I've done, I bought from Argos a £20 mini desk, and then I attached my good old X-Arcade to the top. I then, thanks to a friend of mine, got a force feedback steering wheel. Now, I've actually only technically got this on loan from him, but he's never asked for it back. It was gathering dust in his place, so I'm hoping he won't see this video and remind him to get it back off me. And then what I've got a dedicated gaming PC there. So I've got one there which is another gaming PC, but here is the main one that I use to run. And then I set up Hyperspin. So Hyperspin, if you don't know, is a nice way of, it gives the impression of not actually emulating. It's kind of like a nice cool selection criteria, and I've set up loads of really cool emulators, and I'll go through some of these, but some games that don't emulate at all on main, like Daytona, the Dreamcast Naomi board, with Namcom as well, obviously. You know, when you've got your emulates very well. Crazy Taxi, and then some more obscure stuff like the Tato X-Do board emulator, and some home gem stuff. So there's loads of stuff here. I'll just go flick through them. Good old Atari 2600, Atari 5200, 7800, Jaguar, the Lynx, the Famicom disk system, so this was the disk system, good old NES, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, the good old SG-1000, basically Master System before it in all but name. Then you have the Western release of the Master System, Mega Drive, my good old Mega Drive, Mega CD, 32X, Sega Saturn. Now actually I'm quite impressed how well it emulates on the PC now. The emulators have really got good. I still like. And same with Dreamcast, emulates pretty well now. Game Gear, PC Engine, I love the PC Engine. Turbo Graphics, TurboGrafx CD, on the earliest CD, Super Graphics, PCFX, so you get some really obscure machines. The good old Neo Geo, we all love our Neo Geo. Same with Neo Geo CD, Neo Geo Pocket, same with the Pocket Color. The 3DO, I still find the emulation's not 100%. I still prefer my original 3DO. PlayStation emulates very well now. Odyssey, or Odyssey 2, Adventure Vision, so really some quite obscure stuff. Now DICE runs the very early boards, Vectrex, the good old Vectrex, and Television, Creative Vision, Arcadia, the GX4000, the Amstrad, the ColecoVision, Supervision, so really obscure stuff here. Astro Arcade, the trusty Amiga, although I do prefer going to the emulator. Same with Mega CD32, I still don't think it emulates particularly well. Good old PopCap. And I have some very specialist emulators like AAE. This does a much better job of showing vector graphics. I'll show you that maybe in a bit. Versus System, the NES Versus System. Some really obscure ones like Action Max. And of course, good old Laserdisc. RCA. Fairchild, one of the earliest machines to have cartridges. Good old Virtua Boy. Wonder Swan, last thing I think Gunpei Yokoi worked on. Same with the Colour. I've got the arcade of Neo Geo. And there's specialist more 3D arcade like Zinc Emulator. Of course all the pinball machines emulated, which is cool. Now, but let's go in arcade classics. So let's go arcade classics. So each of these has a lovely game. So I'm going to go to my favourite game of all time. In fact, let's just cycle through so we see how many games there are. Oh, lots of games. Now I can skip on and go by different letters, but it might give you a sense of the sheer number of games that have been uploaded. Just in the arcade section this is. In fact I will go on because it's so moving the joystick right here jumps a letter and up and down. So there you go, there's P. Now I'm going to choose Outrun because it's my favourite game of all time. So I press start. And then up it comes. So I've got my steering wheel here, the pedals down there, excuse my feet. I put in the money. I've got the gear shift here. Now, I'm driving one-handed here and keeping an eye, so I'm not going to drive as well as I normally do. Not that I'm particularly good. You can see here how the force feedback, and this is about as close as I possibly ever could get to the outrun experience. Ooh, I crashed. At home. And when I'm done, I just quit out. The two buttons, insert the insert coins on the side here, both sides, because I don't want it too easy, and then go on and choose something else. Now what I love as well, if I go, let's go to someone's that, because a lot of people have MAME, but there are some fantastic emulators out here. Let's show the Sega MS2. Let's bring up Daytona to show how good some of the emulation is. I've never worked out how to select things. Oh, there we go, it's a break. That's it. Now, I've realised actually that I could get rid of the header bar. I think I have to go into the INI files. My trouble is having the time to sit through. Oh, again, I'm just driving single-handed. It's very difficult. Yeah, you can see how beautifully it's running. I mean, it really is, for want of a better term, arcade perfect. It literally is the arcade ring. And with the steering wheel, this is, pretty good. I'm comfortable. It's obviously not as good as a deluxe cabinet, but then I haven't got the space for that deluxe cabinet. And of course, let's just quit out. So I just quit out there. I'll just show you some of the other ones as well. Let's quit out. So let's show you with my favourite system, the Mega Drive. Well, my favourite 16-bit system, the Mega Drive. You see, it's just nice. You've got all the box art. So there you go, Zombie Ate My Neighbours. Now, as I'm doing this primarily for the Retro Gaming Club crowd, I will bring up the game of the month just to show you. So again, let's go on here. So, Turbo Outrun Troubleshooter. Absolutely crazy game. Really rock hard game here. I got chosen. You see, if I showed a Mega Drive plugged in, you probably, if I showed a Mega Drive and wasn't telling you it was emulation, would you know the difference? I don't know. Mads DX firmly believes he can. I don't have quite the ear. Now, for the console games, obviously arcades are not suited. So I do have here a nest of wires here. I've got one of these devices, and that allows me to plug in a PS2, N64, and a Sega Saturn. Now, Sega Saturn's my favourite controller of all time. Now, I should really set up my Sega Saturn, because that's probably the best layout for the Mega Drive. Oh, by the way, there's my Speed Link Competition Pro for Amiga games. But at the moment I'm going to use my PS2 controller. Not quite the same. Not the same layout. I perhaps should have set up the Sega Saturn. Very good for SNES though, the PS2 controller. So I'm going to get smashed here because I've got the It is an absolutely insane game. It's a good call, but I get thrashed with it, and I've played it quite a bit. I still get thrashed. It's got flying penguins. Oh dear. Yeah, it's definitely a game you have to learn, and I haven't learnt it yet, which is why I get my ass whipped. Absolutely insane game. A great choice. Because it was a game I've never heard of. It's got those robotic penguins. Oh dear. I'm about to die. Oh, the other thing I mentioned, just to avoid the embarrassment. Oh look, there's a Spanish retro gamer I picked up. But I also picked up, in here I've got various gizmos and gadgets, more steering wheels. But I picked up, and I might try and set this up, this is an Aimtrax light gun. Now the way it is, it's basically like a Wiimote. You have like a reader bar, and it makes it like a mouse. But the theory is, of course, because it's mouse, you can emulate many games. There's some games you can't. Things you perhaps wouldn't think of, like Operation Wolf and Operation Thunderbolt, purely because they're joystick based. But you know, I'm gonna try and set this up as the wife's away again. I found it a little flaky, which is why I'm not gonna do it now. But well, light gun on a modern TV, you know, how much better can you get? Anyway, thanks guys. I just thought you'd be interested. Enjoy.